Welcome to the Wednesday review. It's a brief breakdown of the books I read this week. First up, God of Malice by Rina. Everything about Killian Carson is different. His drive, his determination, his mind, his ability to blend in with normal society despite his lack of emotions. Lucky for him, Glendon King, his new object of desire, is different too. She goes to a rival college, has insanely protective older brothers who don't want her to have anything to do with him. And she doesn't really like him, but he's never let something like hatred stop him from getting what he wants. Next was Midnight at the Blackbird Café by Heather Weber. After burying her beloved grandmother Z, Anna Kate only has to stay in the tiny town of Wicklow, Alabama for 60 days to fulfill the terms of Z's will. It's the very town that her mother ran away from, trying to keep her safe. The town that has a way of drawing people in and not letting them go. The town with the Blackbird Cafe, where you can hear the birds sing at midnight. The town where she is an outsider, but everyone seems to know more about her history than she does, and she's ready to find out. My next book was an arc, Well, Actually, by Mazey Eddings. Eva Kent and Riley Cooper only went on 4 dates in college. 6 years later, one night while she's doom scrolling, she happens upon one of his videos where he is explaining how to not have toxic masculinity in your life. She may or may not be a drink or 2 in and decides to stitch his video, determined to set the record straight about how this guy really is. She puts him on blast for how he treated her during those 4 dates and doesn't think anything will come of it. That is until the next morning when her phone alerts her to the new viral status of that video. Even her boss saw it. Now she wants Eva to host Riley on her live streaming interview show to clear the air. During the interview, he blindsides her and asks her to go on 6 more dates with him where he can change all of those red flags from his past to green. My next book was Dungeons and Drama by Kristy Boyce. Coming home from seeing a touring Broadway show should never end in punishment. But when you just steal your mom's car, drive multiple hours away at night on the highway without a license, you don't really leave your divorced but united on this front parents any other choice. That's how Riley finds herself as the newest employee at her dad's store, sword and board games for the next 8 weeks. As if just being in high school wasn't hard enough, her ex-boyfriend is now rubbing his new relationship all in her face, which causes her, in a moment of insanity, to declare that she is now dating her new coworker, resident nerd Nathan. He reluctantly agrees to this fake dating situation, but only because he thinks he can make another girl jealous. Now they're spending all their extra time together, and she's even been dragged into his D&D game. She absolutely cannot believe the state of her life right now. My last book was Powerless by Elsie. Sloane Winthrop is about to make the biggest mistake of her life. Luckily, she has great friends. Namely, Jasper Gervais, honorary Eaton brother and her childhood crush, who's now turned into her best friend. He whisks her away from this terrible situation and gives her a safe place to stay in the aftermath. Turns out that childhood crush of hers never really left, and he's been pining for her for years too. While these books may be all over the romance spectrum, they have one thing in common, and that's, spoiler alert, a happily ever after. What is something that you look for in a book that makes you instantly want to read it? Let me know so I can add it to my TBR too.